Welcome to Fantasy Baseball. We are going to review the head-to-head league, Field of Dreams. I'm Dan O'Day. Steve Romano is out sick, but Charlie Charles is sitting in with us. Hey, Charlie. Hey, Dan. How you doing? We had some interesting matchups this week, Charlie. Some close matchups. No big blowouts, really. In the head-to-head league, the best Yahoo head-to-head league, the Mighty Lollygaggers lost to the Stony Sliders 6-2. IB Tigers beat Humboldt Crabs 6-1. And then Mr. Awesome Momo's and Lumber Company, they were 1-2 going into that matchup. Momo was 1, Lumber Company was 2, and Lumber Company won that matchup 6-4. That was an amazing matchup, I think, Dan. Mr. Momo's great team. Lumber Company, as we've discussed, a fantastic team, 6-4, a great matchup. Creek Expos then beat Atlanta Braves 6-4. Raptor fell to Carnival 6-4. A lot of 6-4s this week. And then Big Time Taters and SoCal Stat Challenge finished at 5-5. Baltimore Chop beat Juiced Up for Summer 6-4. And that was pretty much past week's matchups. And that changes the standings, doesn't it, Charlie? Yeah, it does change the standings, Dan. Now we have a different leader. And it looks like you're up there with Lumber Company. Yeah, Lumber Company is tied with the Stony Sliders for first place. And, I'm happy to be there. I don't know how long it'll last. My team's playing pretty well, made some good moves. But one thing that's different between our two teams, and we're tied, he's made 4 moves this year, and I've made 54 moves this year. Quite a difference. Yeah, you use your moves a lot. Lumber Company had a great draft. He obviously doesn't need to make a lot of moves. But, I don't know if you looked, but there was something interesting about Lumber Company's matchup this week. Yeah, there really was. Lumber Company had moved Cal Raleigh to the bench on Thursday, and I don't know if he got busy. I hope everything's okay. He's probably not obsessed with baseball and has more of a life than I do. But he kept Alvarez as his catcher Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He missed 4 home runs, a lot of ribbies and runs, and a stolen base from Cal Raleigh. And so he won that matchup 6-4 with Cal Raleigh on his bench for the weekend. So that's how strong of a team he is right now. In third place is Mr. Awesome Momos. He was in first place for a couple weeks, at least 2 or 3. And he was going into first place last week, and Lumber Company beat him 6-4. Baltimore Chop in third place, 4.5 games back. Creek Expos, 6.5 games back in fifth place. And tied with Creek Expos is Raptor, 6.5 games back. Oh, those are your playoff teams right there, Dan. All those teams have been pretty much near the top, making good moves through the year. But all these teams, the next 4 or 5 teams below them are still in it. Absolutely. Juiced Up for Summer is only 2 games back of a playoff spot. Carnival 9 is only 3.5 games back in 8th place of a playoff spot. IP Tigers, 13.5 games back altogether, but only 7 games back of a playoff spot. Humboldt Crabs in 10th place, only 7.5 games back of a playoff spot. And the Atlanta Braves, 15 games back overall, but only 8.5 games back of a playoff spot. Yeah, I really feel that any of those teams are still in the race, Dan. I mean, yeah, you look at it and you see that an 8-2 week, a 9-1 week, or even a 7-3 week really propels you. We're past the 50% mark of this head-to-head league when it comes to how many matchups before we get to the playoffs. But I really feel those top 11 teams are still all in it. Absolutely. The Big Time Taters are next in 12th place, 20.5 games back. Then SoCal Stat Challenge, 25.5 games back. And Mighty Lollygaggers, 27.5 games back in last place. But one thing I like about this league, and it's a great league, one of the most active leagues I've ever been in, maybe the best head-to-head league in Yahoo. Mighty Lollygaggers in last place with 32 moves. SoCal Stat Challenge made a couple good moves last week, 38 moves. And Big Time Taters, 23 moves. Atlanta Braves, 26 moves. Humboldt Crabs, 39 moves. IP Tigers, only 12 moves this year. Carnival 9, 20 moves. Juiced Up for Summer, 20 moves. Raptor, 30 moves. Creek Expos, only 7 moves this year in 5th place. Baltimore Chop, 36 moves. Mr. Awesome Momos, 29 moves. Lumber Company, as we said, with only 4 moves. And then yours truly, the Stony Sliders, with 54 moves, leading the league. That's a lot of moves, Dad. I mean, you obviously use the moves whenever you feel like you need to. Yeah, I pick up players. I find anyone I need this week. I only made 4 of my 5 moves, and I didn't even pick up any pitching. I picked up guys I wanted this week that were on the waiver wire. We'll get into that in a little bit. But once again, Lumber Company, only 4 moves this year, tied for first place. Cal Raleigh on his bench. Just a really good team. Let's go over some of those moves, shall we? Yeah, I saw a couple interesting moves there too, Dan. I mean, the moves are important as you go through the year. And there were some interesting ones this past week. There really were some interesting ones made this past week. On Monday, Carnival 9 picked up Stanton of the Yankees and dropped Soderstrom of the A's. And that was a big move, and we'll say why. Polanco was picked up, and Victor Scott was dropped by the Lollygaggers on Monday. That's a big move, as Victor Scott does have a lot of stolen bases. Then I picked up Evan Carter for $5. He was on waivers, and I dropped Grisham. Grisham playing well for the Yankees. I like Evan Carter. He gets more stolen bases, but he sits against lefties, so I'm not sure about that move. Yeah, dropping Grisham might not have been the best move. Absolutely. And I wondered about that. Mangum was picked up by the Taters. He gets you stolen bases without a doubt. And then I picked up Soderstrom. He was on waivers. I spent $10. I dropped Sirocco. And I don't know how long I'll hold on to Soderstrom. He's now first base outfield. He had a good start. He's been really cold lately. I spent $10 on him because I always find in this league where you can pick up players for $0, money is to be spent. I always have some left at the end of the year. So if there's somebody on waivers, I'm going to make a bid and put some money in. It's not a bad pickup, but like you said, he's been cold lately and he's not playing so well. Other pickups that picked up to me, Cam Smith was picked up by Humboldt Crabs, and Caglione was dropped. That's an interesting pickup. A couple young guys. That was a nice pickup, though. I like Cam Smith. He is starting to hit and do well. Humboldt Crabs, another great pickup right here. Nick Kurtz was picked up. Meowdroth was dropped. Kurtz, I'm high on. I have him in another league. He's really coming around. He's got some power. He's playing for the A's, and they're playing in that bandbox, and the summer's coming up. Probably going to see some home runs from Kurtz. I like that pickup a lot. I wish I would have made that pickup, to be honest with you. Yeah, Kurtz has got a big upside. It's his rookie season. He's playing well. Other pickups I liked in the league this week. Profar was picked up by SoCal Stat Challenge. As I said earlier, he made some good pickups. He dropped Stowers. Profar again comes back in July. We'll see how he plays coming back from suspension. Other pickups that stuck out to me in the league this week. When it came to pitching needed at the end of the week, Spence was picked up by Juiced Up for Summer. Bello was picked up by the Lollygaggers. IP Tigers added Jackson, a relief pitcher, and then Chase Burns, picked up by Raptor. Abel of the Phillies was dropped, and a good pickup. Burns is a blue chipper. He's been compared to Skeens. It's a tough comparison, but that's how good he is. He's going to start Tuesday against the Yankees, but here's a guy, the Reds, who are only like 6.5 games out in their division. They're one game or a couple games over 500. I can't remember without looking. But they're going for it. They're bringing up their best pitcher. He was just drafted last year. That's a great pickup. Yeah, Burns is a guy with a high upside, and I really like that move by Raptor, who's right now in the playoff hunt for sure. And Burns is going to be good. We don't know how he's going to pitch his rookie season, and if he's going to stay healthy, but there's a good chance that's a fantastic pickup. And then on Sunday, Giolito was picked up by the Momos. Baltimore Chop picked up Gusto. Both those are moves to get some pitching stats. Falter was picked up by Momos, also pitching stat move. Then McMahon was picked up by Momos. So there was 3 moves by Momos. The Gusto move was by Baltimore Chop. Momos lost 6-4 to Lumber Company this week. He made some moves to get in there. That was a close matchup, but he did do some good pickups there. I like the McMahon pickup. He's starting to come around. This guy always had a decent high upside, and he's starting to play a little better for a bad Colorado team. Yeah, other moves that I stuck out to me was Sissoni was picked up and Hoskins was dropped. Yeah, Raptor picked up Hoskins. Dropped Hoskins, picked up Sissoni, trying to get some pitching stats there. Hoskins started slow, got hot, now cooling down, but a decent guy on the waiver wire or free agent list. Scherzer was picked up today by SoCat Stat Challenge, and let's see if he has anything left in the tank. And then just a little while ago, Chanel, that's how you pronounce his name, first baseman for the Angels, was picked up. Falter was dropped by Mr. Awesome Momo. So some interesting pickups and drops this week in the Field of Dreams leagues. I'm Dan O'Day, talking about head-to-head Field of Dreams, the best head-to-head league in Yahoo. I'm Charlie Charles. Thanks for listening. We wish Steve Romano a quick recovery. Cheers.